Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli with Little Blue. Yep, and as we mentioned in the last review video of 20,000 Leagues, we are of course reviewing it, and that is Davy Crockett, King of the Wild Frontier. And which actually, because this started with 3 episodes and put into a movie.
It was, and it was very well done, very seamless. It started with the Indian Wars, which, Davy Crockett ended up making peace with the Indians, but there were a lot of funny things that happened along the way. And of course, all the Davy Crockett stories are told and retold, and they're exaggerated over and over again to where it becomes, Davy Crockett just becomes larger than life.
Yeah.
Like him grinning down a bear, as he calls it, a bar, and grinning it down to the point of where he can subdue it.
Episode 1, the Indian Wars we're talking about.
Exactly, because he tells a story about a possum that he sees up in a tree, and he grins the possum down, and the possum says, "You got me, Davy," and he comes down out of the tree and jumps in his sack with his game sack.
Yeah.
So I thought it was very well done. Those movies, they just don't make movies like that anymore. And Fess Parker was Davy Crockett. I mean, he was Daniel Boone too when he played Daniel Boone on the NBC network.
Even though King of the Wild Frontier, it was at first episodes,
Exactly, and I saw him in episodes, but I also saw him in the movies from the movie standpoint, and how they put them together and edited together as one big movie, and it was really well done.
Yeah, and basically, because after trying to grin down a bear, he and Georgie, they meet up and they join Andrew Jackson fighting off against the Indians.
Exactly.
And Andrew Jackson, this was before he became president, because
exactly.
he was part of some soldiers and wars, And
of course, Davy Crockett ends up going to Congress. He gets elected to Congress, and he goes to Congress.
Yep. And once again, this time we have Jackson. He's president.
Exactly.
And even Major Norton, he was in the first 2 episodes and in Congress. So
right.
Because even in the Congress episode, that's where Bigfoot Mason.
Yeah, Bigfoot Mason comes in. Big guy. I can't remember the actor's name, but he's played in.
But Bigfoot Mason was a real person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, of course. I mean, I don't know why I'm asking.
Well,
but
when he at the end of the when they get into the Alamo,
Bigfoot Mason, Mike Mazurek.
He played in several. He played in an episode of Gilligan's Island, which I thought was funny.
I'll have to. I'm trying to remember that.
It was the mad scientist, and he switched brains with Ginger, and he's talking in Ginger's voice.
It was him. It was him. Okay.
It was him.
Okay, I think so. Yeah.
So by the time Davy goes to the Alamo, he wants to go to the Alamo to fight.
But just one thing we forgot to mention in the Congress episode, because that's where...
That kind of ties in with this, where I'm going.
Well, you didn't let me finish, because in the Congress, Davy receives a letter that, the love of his life had died.
Yeah, his wife had passed away. Yeah.
And is it unknown as to how she died?
Not really sure. Not really sure what the circumstances were surrounding that, or the actual facts surrounding it. But
Polly Crockett.
Polly Crockett, but she apparently died of some kind of fever, had some kind of illness, and and died, flu or whatever. So But by the time he went, he went to the Alamo, this was the point I wanted to make.
We also have Hans Connery in this. He's Timberlake.
Yeah, in the movie, they have him going to the Alamo to fight for Texas's freedom and, for this. But actually, in reality, Davy Crockett went to Texas to run for Congress because he lost in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And he left Tennessee on very bad terms because he told his constituents, the voters, where to go, basically.
Right.
And he went to Texas.
Yeah, speaking of which, because, when he was in the Congress, whatever, in Washington, because now this wasn't in the episode itself and with Congress, but Davy Crockett did say it, and it was this, I'm going to Texas and you can go to hell.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, and I don't understand why why they didn't include that in. I guess for a reason. I guess.
Yeah, for obvious reasons, I think.
Yeah,
because first it was Disney, and secondly they want to make Davy Crockett out to be, a folk legend. Which he was a folk legend, but he just wasn't the person that he was made out to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, Davy, Georgie, and with Timberlake and some Indian, they make their way to the Alamo. And at a couple of times, they face off against the soldiers. They do win a few times, but it isn't until the final one where they lose,
Exactly.
And then there's a story that this is our second time recording this, and you talk about this. You can talk about it again of because Davy Crockett, because he got killed, and Disney and the rest of his crew, they really screwed up on that. And why was that? The story too. You talked about it the first time we tried recording this. You could say it again.
The story behind
get back in the frame.
I'm sorry, I'm in deep thought here. They killed off their main character.
Exactly.
At the end, in the Alamo. That was the final episode.
And that was only episode 3.
And so what ended up happening was Walt Disney's like, now what are we going to do? We've got Davy Crockett mania going around the country, kids buying coonskin caps, kids buying toy muskets, playing Davy Crockett, running all over the place.
Yes.
It's a phenomenon. And it literally was a phenomenon. The whole country got swept up in it. So it was a little like, I guess, maybe not to the same, obviously not to the same degree, but a little like the Star Wars mania that came in 1977 when the first movie came out. So
true.
It just became a nationwide mania, with Davy Crockett, everybody, Davy Crockett. So Walt Disney was like, what are we going to do? So what they did was they told backstories. They told the story of Davy Crockett and the Riverboat Pirates.
Mike Fink,
the whole thing, and so that is in itself a separate movie,
yes, and
that can be found on Disney Plus.
Yeah, and which of course they were 2 episodes.
Exactly,
and of course we'll be reviewing that later. So
Right.
But for this, we're reviewing King of the Wild Frontier with the 3 episodes.
Right,
and. Forgot to mention this because in the first one with the Indian War, like Davy Crockett, and I guess in real life, Davy Crockett, he did make peace with the Indians, came in negotiation.
He did
with Red Stick, the chief of the Indians,
right. and kept the peace. And Congress was trying to kind of sweep it under the rug, and Davy rescued it. So
yeah. So yeah, and he's Davy Crockett. He managed to succeed on that.
Right. So end of story. Great movie.
Yes, it is. Everything to Davy Crockett with the first 3 episodes that really centers on Davy Crockett and what happened is really good. With what started off as 3 episodes, then it got turned into a movie. So it was great, and it's really cool because even like at that time, because Disneyland was coming to California and such, even Davy Crockett, he was there a couple times promoting, and even there for Disneyland's opening,
right?
Especially in the Frontierland.
Exactly.
Yep, and that's another thing. Davy Crockett, he was one of the popular things in Frontierland.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I wish we do have like a coonskin hat, but we should have gotten that out.
Exactly.
Yeah, like you wore an Indiana Jones like a fedora for our review of Last Crusade.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but because we're reviewing classic live-action Disney films, I guess with the exception of Pixar, I guess is fine. I don't know, but Pixar being Disney as well, so But with all that being said, Davy Crockett, King of the Wild Frontier. How do we rate this?
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Classic.
What can you say? 10 out of 10. So
gotta see it. Fun to watch. Fun to watch.
And it's on Disney Plus.
Oh yeah.
So, does it matter whether watching it as it is a movie or watching it as it was when it being 3 episodes?
I think it doesn't matter. I think you'll see it. You get the whole thing with everything. You get it all.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if you break them down and watch these episodes, if you can get a hold of them that way. But on Disney Plus, that's how they're offered. So that's how you end up having to watch them. Yeah.
But I know this. The thing is with King of the Wild Frontier, there are some stuff that was cut.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And as I gave the heads up, so But anyway, so again. 10 out of 10, and we give it 2 thumbs up, of course. 2 thumbs up, of course.
2 thumbs up.
And, hey, of course we'll review The River Pirates, and I believe that's the next one, I'm pretty sure. I'll have to look and see, because, doing them in order of how they came out, so...
Right.
Because this one, King of the Wild Frontier, because, it came out, I think, just a year after when what we had just reviewed, 20,000 Leagues.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll check, and probably the next one after this you're watching will be, obviously, the Davy Crockett and The River Pirates.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, so again... 10 out of 10 for Davy Crockett, King of the Wild Frontier. 2 thumbs up, of course. We hope you enjoyed our review of King of the Wild Frontier, and if you haven't seen it, hey, go watch it on Disney Plus. And as me and Lil Blue were saying, yep. So again, 10 out of 10, 2 thumbs up for King of the Wild Frontier. Again, we hope you enjoyed our review. More reviews coming your way, and of course, continuing on with the review marathon that is of the classic live-action Disney films, and probably the next one. Again, I'll go back and look. Probably the next one will be the one with the River Pirates. So, any last words?
Watch it.
Yep, watch it. That's all that Little Blue has to say. And for me, again, we hope you enjoyed our review of King of the Wild Frontier, and we'll see you guys in the next video /review video. Take care and peace out.